Hope is really important. In fact, it's probably the foundation of people doing well from a pain management perspective. So where I work at the Hunter Integrated Pain Service, the first part of that service is really grouping people together and coming and spending 90 minutes and really having a bit of an insight into what's happening around the pain management field globally and the change and the hope that's come with that, that in fact there can be that real opportunity for people to do well now, rather than perhaps some old messages that some people still stuck with, that somehow they have to just manage forever with this level of pain that they've got, which was a terrible burden for a lot of people, and really a loss of hope. So nice for people to come and hear that much more optimistic message that with hard work and support, people actually can do really well. The first step that we would usually suggest that people take is to have a really good think of whether they've been assessed properly. Often when people come to a tertiary centre, that has happened, and sometimes people are thinking that they in fact haven't fully been assessed, and that's really important for people to believe that every stone's been turned over and had a good look at, ruling out red flags, and they're the things that we would call dangerous. So that could be things like a broken bone or something nasty. So GPs are fantastic at ruling those things out, and once that's happened, then we really shift focus away from what we call the body tissues and start to look a lot more broadly at what else is going on and what's really contributing to the pain experience.
We're very excited. I mean, the outcomes that we're seeing have sort of exceeded what we'd hoped for ourselves, because it's a relatively short program, and like ADAPT's 120 hours. So we've sometimes wondered what can we achieve in 18 in the first step, or even 30, and seeing changes not just in terms of function and how people feel, but even pain. I mean, we're seeing reductions of 30%, average 30% reduction in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Just through some of these things. So, it's those sort of numbers, but also just seeing people excited about doing things again. It's great. It's fun. I never thought I'd enjoy a program that much.
Good on you, Phil. I think that's, it sounds like you really connect with the people that are going through your program.
Yeah, well, that's part of the fun. And again, that's Robin and Rebecca too. They're fantastic. They're just a great team. They're hugely experienced. They're really nice people to work with. And I think people respond to that. And they've got a real care for people and concern. And I think people respond to that.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think that the quality of the relationship between the health service provider and the person in pain is really important and vital for the success or not of any kind of, service being delivered. I know that there's going to be people listening to this program and watching and saying, I wonder if this program could help me. Can you respond to that, please?
I mean, that's always a difficult question to answer. And of course, when I see people for the first time, that's often the question they ask is, how likely is this going to help me? And of course, we'd love to have a crystal ball and be able to say, this is what we can expect. And generally what I say to them is, we do have results from our program. We've been running this for 12 months and we have 6 groups who've gone through now. And we've now looked at the results from that. So we assess where people are up to when they first start the program on day 1. And then we also assess where they're up to on the final day of that first 6 weeks and see where they're up to then in terms of their pain and their mood and their physical function. And what I can say, and this is what I generally say to people, is that on average, the sort of changes that we're seeing over 6 weeks are that people's physical function improves by about 50% over those 6 weeks. In terms of mood, on average, it improves by about 35 to 40%, so that's things such as depression and anxiety. Their confidence in being able to do things improves by about 25%. But one of the things that sort of surprised us as another great result is that on average, their pain is reducing by over 30%, which I think even for us, I mean, we do expect that pain programs do reduce pain, but often people feel as though coming into a pain management program that you're just going to be told that you have to live with it or you have to cope with it. And I think the exciting thing is that we can influence our spinal cord, our nervous system, by some of these things that we're doing. So exercise, relaxation, meditation are all changing the nervous system. And that's not just helping us to feel better, it's actually changing the pain as well. So they're the sort of outcomes that we're getting from the program. Of course, they're averages, which you've got to point out to people and say, well, we can't guarantee that for everybody. That's an average, so some people are actually doing better than that. We've had some people with some very big changes. But for some people, there isn't much change or even no change. So you certainly can't guarantee that. And I think that's important to say, is we can't guarantee that this is going to help in all those ways. But that just gives an idea of the sort of averages, and that people can expect to get some change, certainly in those different areas.
So people that have come into the unit and actually are working with us and working on all of their different skills and strategies can make a big difference. I'm thinking of one lady that wasn't able to nurse her grandchild. She was frightened with her hand, didn't have the confidence. She'd lost confidence. She had a lot of pain in that side. And working slowly, starting with some graded motor imagery and thinking of the big picture, she really was able to overcome her fear. Eventually, she was a couple of weeks into a program, she was holding what we call a sand baby. So she'd made a baby out of some sand and made sort of stuffed a sock really and got her confidence that way and she left the program and didn't want any further support, and it was lovely. So lots of stories like that of people that are brave really, I think, and take some advice and support for a while from a tertiary centre and then off they go. Really joyous.